Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wing, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker from Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Go Colleyville.
As the Commissioners' Court opens this Election Day morning, we ask God, whatever you conceive God to be, to open our hearts and our minds to one another. After bearing witness throughout the political season to such strife and contention, numerous personal attacks, and a basic lack of dignity and respect, we pray that we can respect and recognize the good in others. In Jewish tradition, Hillel and Shammai, the two great schools of thought, were seen as equally valid. But it was the school of Hillel that Jews continue to follow today due to their humility and careful consideration of opposing points of view. From that tradition, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah taught over 1,800 years ago, where there is no wisdom, there will be no reverence. And where there is no reverence, there will be no wisdom. Where there is no understanding, there will be no knowledge. And where there is no knowledge, there will be no understanding. On this day and every day we pray that this court be granted the wisdom of good judgment and reverence for both the rule of law and the dignity and frailty within each of us. May this court be granted understanding that begins with humility and the knowledge that leads them and all of us to justice, compassion, and truth. We thank you for this court, for its work, and for the opportunity to take part in our democracy. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be your will. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Rabbi, thank you for coming out. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have two announcements as it relates to the agenda. First of all, we are not going to have to go into closed session today. There will be no closed session today. Second of all, when we get to the bonds section, we will have one bond that will be presented by the District Attorney's Office. And while it's not an agenda item, the canvassing of the election votes today, we will need to do that in a period between Wednesday, November 14th and Monday, November 19th. So that means that fall we will not have a regular Commissioners Court meeting during that time period. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to check your calendars for those dates. We normally have that either Thursday or Friday of that week, but we can have it at any time and any one of those dates. I'll just need to know, and I'll get with each of you so we can choose a day so we can meet the 72-hour posting requirement.
What are the dates?
It can be any time between Wednesday, November 14th, and Monday, November 19th. Normally we do it historically we've done that on a Thursday or a Friday, but we can do it any time during that time period. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'd like to welcome Mr. Manius back to the bosom of his county family and extend to him the sympathies of all of us upon the death of his father last week.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of October the 30th.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Well, as obvious by the crowd in the room today, this is our employee recognition. It's also Election Day, and I hope that And this weekend, we celebrate veterans and Monday Veterans Day, and I hope all of you have voted. I think sometimes we take it for granted. Many people, if you noticed today as you came in, our flag is at half-mast, and that's because during the last month we had someone from this community who sacrificed their life in Iraq or in Afghanistan, and that's what it's all about. They sacrificed their lives so that we can enjoy the freedoms to come here, to pray, to be able to say our pledge, to be able to meet, to be able to say what we want to say. And I just hope that everyone has gone out and done their responsibility as far as voting today or prior to today is this election. And I know we're all, or at least I know I'm ready for this election season to be over with and for me to be able to turn on the TV or the radio and see something other than and just stop and think. We haven't seen half of what a state like Ohio or Pennsylvania or Wisconsin would be seeing. So again, I hope you've had a chance to vote, and if you haven't, I hope that you'll make time today sometime to go and to vote. Also, I want to remind everybody that we are underway on our United Way campaign. There's going to be a little website up to where if you want to take an opportunity to throw a pie in the face of the judge, you can do that.
Of what judge?
Of this judge. Now, there might be other judges out there, or there might be other I know there's a few other elected officials who've opted to see what they can write. I'm going to get to you. Always looking for that attention. Always looking for that attention. I'll tell you. And, you know, we had breakfast burritos for sale downstairs earlier this morning. We sold out of those. And rumor has it, stand up, that the county clerk is actually selling hot dogs today across the street. You want to go ahead and announce that?
Absolutely. 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we are grilling hot dogs. Minimum $5 donation. You get a hot dog, chips, and a drink. Come see us. Baked goods is for a great cause. We're going to knock it out of the ballpark. Enjoy your day, Judge. Commissioners, thank you. I'm going to go outside and rummage business.
Will it look
Yeah.
better than the one you're wearing?
Turn to that later. Now y'all can see me.
The district clerk is not conceding. I'm going to buy some hot dogs.
But yeah, well, we figured you'd buy hot dogs. It's food, Wilder. You don't miss food. So again, I hope everybody will take an opportunity to do their part in raising money for United Way. Great organization, does great work in our community. Again, it's a great example of the collaboration that we see throughout this county on so many things, whether it be with city and county, whether it be nonprofits, or whether it be the private business. Tremendous spirit of collaboration, and we have fun doing it, and that's, I think, equally important. We have some proclamations and a congratulatory resolution this morning, and so I want to get started. Commissioner Brooks, I believe you have the first proclamation up this morning.
I do, and thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity to do this. Pancreatic cancer is one of the most aggressive forms of cancer known to man. And it's personal with me because I have had a relative to die of pancreatic cancer. I'm pleased to present this resolution in favor of Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. Judge, would you be so kind as to read it into the record?
Okay. Whereas in 2012, an estimated 43,920 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States, and 37,390 will die from the disease, with about 2,240 deaths occurring in Texas. And whereas pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers, is the fourth leading cause of cancer death in the United States, and is the only major cancer with a 5-year relative survival rate in the single digits at just 6%. And whereas when symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, it is usually too late for an optimistic prognosis, and 74% of the pancreatic cancer patients die within the first year of their diagnosis, while 94% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years. And whereas the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is the first and only national patient advocacy organization that serves the pancreatic cancer community in Tarrant County and nationwide by focusing its efforts on public policy, research funding, patient services, and public awareness and education related to the developing effective treatments and a cure for pancreatic cancer. And whereas the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network and its affiliates in Tarrant County support these patients currently battling pancreatic cancer, as well as those who have lost their lives to the disease and are committed to nothing less than a cure. And whereas the good health and well-being of the residents of Tarrant County are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about pancreatic cancer and research into early detection, causes, and effective treatments. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners' Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2012 as Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in Tarrant County. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 6th day of November 2012.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
As with most diseases that end in death, there's usually a family left behind that needs the support of the community and needs to be enfolded with love. That is the case with this disease. This morning we have with us Sheila and Tom Hart and their 2 sons, Connor and Eric, to accept this proclamation. Would y'all join me at the podium, please?
Members of the Tarrant County Commissioners Court, distinguished guests and Pancreatic Cancer Action Network volunteers, on behalf of the DFW affiliate of the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, we would like to thank you for this opportunity to address the Commissioners Court. The Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is the only national organization creating hope in a comprehensive way through research, patient support, community outreach, and advocacy for a cure. I'm here today in honor of my mom, Maureen Hatcher. Her grandkids called her Mosey, and Mosey died November 3rd, 2011, of pancreatic cancer. Her brief but courageous battle with this disease lasted only 10 precious weeks. We would like to thank the Tarrant County Commissioners Court for your important contribution to this national fight against pancreatic cancer. By declaring November 2012 to be Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in Tarrant County, you are helping us to do the critical work of making the public aware of this disease and its truly lethal nature. We hope by working with you, we're able to continue to raise awareness, support patients and their families, and raise funds to find the cure through both individual contributions and federal funding and legislation. My colleagues and I that are here today would be happy to answer any questions you might have and encourage you to visit the website at www.pancan.org or call our toll-free number to learn more about our organization and its mission, the research we fund, and the comprehensive no-cost services we provide. Also, the Purple Stride is this weekend in Dallas, so I encourage you to participate in that if you can. And thank you again for your support, for supporting our cause, and for helping us raise awareness about pancreatic cancer.
Could we have the other volunteers from the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network go ahead and
There might
stand?
have been one more person.
There you go. Thank you all very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Sheila.
Commissioner Wynn, you have a proclamation with regards to MAD 2012.
Your Honor, Commissioner Court members, today we want to pay tribute to victims and survivors of another disease, a disease that is totally preventable, but unfortunately it has killed more people, more Americans than the Iraq War or the Afghanistan War. And that disease is known as drunk driving. Last year, I had the opportunity to attend a Candlelight Vigil service to honor the victims of drunk driving. There I witnessed firsthand the pictures of the people who were killed by drunk driving. I saw mothers, young mothers with young babies. I saw young fathers. I saw teenagers who were beautiful. And I saw family members, survivors, whose hearts were broken. I think it's very important that we all pay attention to this terrible disease. And I would like to invite Ms. Sandy Branch, a representative of MAD, and Ms. Linda Shetler and her 3 children, whose husband and father was killed approximately 4 years ago by a drunk driver. And Your Honor, can you please read into record, please?
Whereas the mission of Mothers Against Drunk Driving is to stop drunk driving, support the victims of this violent crime, and prevent underage drinking. And whereas the problem of impaired driving and underage drinking is not limited by race, gender, or age, nor are the victims. And whereas in 2010, over 10,000 people were killed and 345,000 were injured in alcohol-related crashes nationwide. Over 1,200 people were killed in alcohol-related crashes in the state of Texas, and over 250 people were killed in impaired driving crashes in North Texas. And whereas in 2010, the Fort Worth office of MAD North Texas provided support for nearly 1,100 victims and survivors of impaired driving crashes. And whereas on November the 11th, 2012, MAD North Texas will conduct its 30th annual Victim Survivor Tribute at the Fort Worth Botanic Gardens and honor and cherish the memory of those lost or injured as a result of impaired driving. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim Sunday, November the 11th, 2012, as Victim Survivor Tribute Day in honor of those affected by impaired driving. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed the 6th day of November, 2012.
I move for approval.
I will second with a comment that while alcoholism may be a disease, drunk driving is a crime.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Please come forward.
On behalf of Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the many victims
and survivors of impaired driving crashes, as well as the numerous agencies who support the victims in Tarrant County, I wish to thank you. As mentioned in the proclamation, on Sunday, November 11th, we will be conducting a Candlelight Vigil of Remembrance and Hope in honor of the victims and survivors of impaired driving. One thing that I feel is important to note is that it's not just drunk driving. By definition, intoxication is any substance that's ingested into the system. So that does include drugs as well as alcohol, and that is also a growing issue in our society. This vigil serves to honor and cherish the memory of those lost or injured in impaired driving crashes. Families gather to celebrate their loved ones. Those injured victims come to heal, and community members come to show support of Matt. In attendance with me today are several survivors, along with representatives from several community agencies that help these survivors, such as the Tarrant County DA's office and the Fort Worth Police Department. May I ask them to stand, please?
Let's go. Stand up, folks.
Raise your hand. I know Terry, Elizabeth, and Richard's being shy with his hands in his pocket. Officer Jones. Thank you. Sunday's event will pay tribute to the many victims and survivors of the tragedy of impaired driving. The purpose of the vigil is to support victims, to alert the public about the reality of impaired driving, and to express hope for a less violent future for all of us. Each of you are invited to attend. I do have invitations. Would you mind?
Come right around.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope that each of you can make it, and again, and express our sincere thanks for allowing us this opportunity. It does mean a great deal, especially as the holidays approach, for the victims and survivors of this, as you say, 100% preventable tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a congratulatory resolution. Commissioner Wynn.
Yes, sir. On a happier note, and a little bit of sadness, we are here to recognize a great leader of our community, President James D. Spaniolo of UTA, University of Arlington, the Mighty Mavericks. Your Honor, can you please read the proclamation?
I'm kind of glad you kind of clarified that when you said it was a happy note that he's retiring. Well, we're not happy. We're not really happy at the fact that he's retiring. I'm an alumni from UTA, and he has done a tremendous job for the university in the time that he's been there, and not just for the university. He has really reached out, has helped the community, not only the city of Arlington, but really the entire all of Tarrant County, and we are very appreciative of the job that you've done, since you've been there. Whereas James D. Spagnola became the 7th president of the University of Texas at Arlington in February 2004, and is credited with transforming a campus known as a commuter school into a 4-year institution where students want to live, and whereas he has demonstrated the highest and best model of collaborative leadership and positive change within his institution, community, county, and state, and whereas the results of the partnership forged by President Spagnola can be seen in the tremendous increase in the number of diverse and talented students, renowned faculty, proud alumni, generous donors, and North Texas partners, and whereas in order to better serve students and a flourishing college town, he inspired new initiatives and facilities, such as the UTA Arlington Chemistry and Physics Building, Fort Worth Center, Smart Hospital, Mavericks Activities Center, University College, Studio Arts Center, Engineering Research Building, the Green at College Park, Campus Gateway, Vandergriff Hall, as well as the county's newest entertainment and sports venue, the College Park Center. And whereas under President Spagnola's leadership, the University of Texas at Arlington was identified by the state of Texas as Tarrant County's emerging Tier 1 research institution. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby recognize James D. Spagnola for his extraordinary vision and service to the University of Texas system as the 7th President of the University of Texas at Arlington. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 6th day of November, 2012.
Move for approval.
Second. Motion passes unanimously. Come on down.
Jim, can you, please come out to the bench?
Can you get us all in here?
Thank you.
Judge Whitley, Commissioners, thank you very much for this recognition and resolution. I accept it, but not on behalf of myself personally, because it takes a tremendous team to build a great university, and we have great faculty, wonderful students, wonderfully diverse students. 50% of our students are first-generation college students. We're the 7th most diverse university in the country. So we've got a lot to be proud of, great research going on. 9,000 degrees were awarded last year. It's been a great privilege and an honor to be the 7th president of the University of Texas at Arlington. It has created memories for me that will last for the rest of my life. It's great to be a Texan, and I am so proud that we, UT Arlington, is the public university for Tarrant County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Now I would like to do the employee recognition, which again is one of our favorite times of each month. And this is I think is an especially good month. We've got someone we're going to recognize for 46 years. Judge Mills, just get ready. And we have, it's interesting, and I'll kind of mention this as we begin talking about some of the folks. We talk all the time about it being a family. We talk all the time about it being friendships. We have 3 folks who I'll mention in a minute that are all celebrating 25 years. They did not know each other when they started with the county. They became friends the first day. They all started the same day. And they have continued that friendship throughout the 25 years that they've been in Tarrant County, even though they didn't necessarily work together. In fact, they did not work together for, they may have all started, and I'll get to that in a minute, and they'll correct me if I'm wrong. But the thing of it is they kept in touch. And that happens more times than you probably would think. Usually, at least 3 or 4 times a year, I'll come across a group like that, and they'll say, oh, yeah, we started the same day as this person and that person, and we've just been friends all along. And it really speaks, I think, to the spirit that all of our employees carry into their daily jobs, that it is a job, but it's a service and a passion that I believe all of y'all have for serving the citizens of Tarrant County and doing your job within Tarrant County. And for that, we are so proud of each and every one of you. Now, I'm going to begin the process, as I always do, by reading the names. And some of the names, there's a couple right out of the box here that are going to get me today. So please, if it sounds like it, or you think or I'm kind of in the category where you belong, and alphabetically you should be next, stand up. Trust me, it'll be all right for you to stand up in those circumstances. So, as we begin with our 5-year employees, Andrea Bowles, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 6. I don't think that's her. Edward Arakpotaba. Oh, come on, he's got to be here. Patricia Gamboa, Public Health. Brenda Gaskell, Criminal Court Support. Kelly Gilliam, Housing Assistance. Winston Humphreys, Constable, Precinct 3. Vanessa Jenkins, Sheriff, Confinement. Felix Juarez, Sheriff, Courts. Mika Linville, Sheriff, Confinement. Sylvia Mendoza, Criminal Court Support. Smile Nua, Constable, Precinct 1. Arizba Oviada. Okay, yeah, now I don't know why you were laughing out there when I was saying, I was wondering, why is she laughing so hard? Now, you go ahead and pronounce it.
It's a Risby Oviedo.
Isn't that what I said? Thank you. She's with Criminal Court Support, by the way. Patricia Page, Purchasing. Rosa Riviere, Public Health. Elisa Sanders, Pretrial Services. Velo Willis, Purchasing. Valina. I knew that. Okay, that's our 5-year employee. I was just going to drift right on into our 10. Thank you all. Now for our 10-year employees. Shedrick Boland, Sheriff, Booking. Marianne Brown, Public Health. James Davison, Juvenile Services. Jana Freelove, Juvenile Services. Verdatha Freeman, County Clerk. Okay, what'd I do? Yeah, that's it. But you knew you were coming, didn't you? There you go. Angela Houston, Sheriff, Confinement. Helen Maxwell, Public Health. James Mercado, Precinct 3, Maintenance. Cecilia Pena, Domestic Relations. Susan Reynosa, Public Health. Ralph Scott, Sheriff, Confinement. Brian Stanley, Domestic Relations. Jennifer Stewart, Public Health. Sherry Wagner, District Attorney's Office. Samuel Williams, District Attorney's Office. These are our 10-year employees. Let's congratulate them. Now for our 15-year employees. Jackie Artaloa with the District Attorney's Office. Donald Baker, Juvenile Services. Nikki Bowden, Sheriff, Confinement. Mary Kay Gard, Auditor's Office. Kenneth Houston, Juvenile Services. Rhonda Hubbard Rockwell, Public Health. Marlon Jeffries, Auditor's Office. Jeff Kirkpatrick, Sheriff Booking. And I believe he has his family with him, so welcome and glad y'all were able to make it out this morning. Donna Overton, 297th District Court. Gwen Pugh, Criminal Court Support. Deborah Pearson, Sheriff Confinement. Nicholas Spivey, Sheriff Confinement. James Thomas, Sheriff Courts. And Tom Zabak, Juvenile Services. Let's give these 15 years. Now for our 20-year employees, Jerry Brown, Sheriff Warrants. Margarita Mata, Domestic Relations. Bernard Powell, Sheriff Warrants. Deborah Reeder, Sheriff Booking. Stacy Rhines, Sheriff Warrants. Glenn Shaw, Sheriff Warrants. Sandra Steen, Sheriff Patrol. Paul Tilley, Sheriff Training. This must have been a big year for the Sheriff's Department. Raymond Tomlin, Sheriff Booking. And Esther Turner, Juvenile Services. Let's give these 20-year employees a big hand. Now for our 25-year employees. Our first is Linda Bingham. And Linda is one of the ones, where's Linda? There she is one of the ones that was one of the three that I talked about earlier. Started on the same day with, I believe, and I'll get this wrong here, Sheila and Lori. Y'all all see right there, the three of them. Stand up for just a second. Now, the other two of you can sit down for a minute. Linda started in the CDC #1 and worked there for a year and then spent the rest of the time and has been with Victims Assistance since then. Really, the memorable moment she has is working with victims and giving them some hope for where they are in their particular lives at that point in time. When I asked her what she liked most, it was just doing what she was doing. She said, "I just love the people that I've had a chance to work with." She really feels like it has been really a blessing and a privilege to work with Tarrant County. It's been a great family to be a part of. When I talked with her and asked her kind of what had occurred over the last 5 years, as with all the folks that are at this point, it's just amazing how quickly that 5 years goes by. She has 3 sons, 2 of them. Unfortunately, they're kind of spread to the wind. There's 2 in California and 1 in Missouri. What she was really proud of was the 6 grandchildren. As a grandparent, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And so we really appreciate, Linda, the 25 years that you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. Next is Sheila Finney. Now, Sheila started out in the DA's office and worked there for about 5 years and then went to Judge Gill's court as the coordinator and has been in that court since then. She's had a chance. Oh, wait a minute.
I worked for Judge Berry and then Judge Candlelight.
Well, no, you didn't let me finish. The court hasn't changed. The judges have. And she's trained now 3 judges. She started with Gill, then Judge Berry, and now Judge Catalona. And we appreciate very much. I mean, again, that speaks very highly of her because as new judges have come in, they've realized how valuable an asset you are to the court. And we appreciate that very, very much. Now, when I ask her again of some of the more memorable moments, she was one of the folks, and I talk very frequently about this, not only throughout the county, but throughout the state and the country, about what we call the rocket docket system. And it's where folks, we basically move folks through the system not to be unfair, but to simply make sure that the process keeps moving. And that process does a tremendous amount for Tarrant County, and as well as for the individuals, in making sure that they get through that process in a timely manner. And so I thank you very much for your work in that area. Another thing that she remembered was the unfortunate death of Chris Marshall. Chris was in a Rotary with Tom Wilder and myself, and so we knew Chris very well too, and it was a big loss for not only the county, but really for everyone who knew Chris. When I asked her what she liked most, it was the friendly family atmosphere. The people that she had a chance to work with. She said, I enjoy the attorneys that we work with and that I've had a chance to work with over the years. She said the court is really her second family. Never thought she'd be here 25 years. As I said, started with Lori and with Linda. They started exactly the same day. And what was it? Was it last Thursday that they actually were celebrating their anniversary? Was it Thursday or Wednesday? Friday. Well, that's good. It was one of those days. I asked them, I said, are y'all going to all retire together? And they said, well, they weren't so sure about that. And about that time, Judge Candlelight got on the line and said, she had kind of indicated that she might be thinking about retiring in 3 to 5 years. And he said, no, it's going to be at least 20 years, and I'll hold her into contempt if she decides to try to. So we'll keep her here one way or another. We may have to chain her, but we're going to keep her here. Sheila, we appreciate very much. Thank you very much.
You skipped Linda. Linda Dolan.
I'm going to get to that. Guys, I got all these critics up here. I tell you, they laugh at me when if I skip one, they get after me. Okay, Linda Dolan, 25 years. Where's Linda?
See, now you made her mad.
Linda wasn't sure she was going to be able to make it down. She's with facilities management, and she works out at Green Bay. And again, is thinking, in fact, she is retiring at the end of the month. She's got since last we talked, she's got a 2.5-year-old grandson, and they just bought them a new house, and so they're getting ready for retirement. So if you see Linda, congratulate her on her time, her 25 years with Tarrant County. Next is Italia Garner. Gardner, excuse me, I don't know why I said that. Started with HR when she was in her early 20s. Started in the front area and now works as the secretary to Robin and tries to keep her straight, which I know is quite a chore. When I asked her about memorable moments, she said, it's more individuals than it may be just one particular moment. She said Gerald Wright, she remembered his sense of humor. She remembered his time with the county. She always looked up and had a great deal of respect for Gerald and for the job that he did. Judge Vandergriff, he was always so nice and polite and kind to everyone, really, and she said she certainly remembered that. She even mentioned Debbie Snyder. Yeah, she said she was taking an accounting class at one point in time and had a problem and took it up to Debbie and thought Debbie would be able to help her with it. And said that Debbie... Now, wait a minute. I'm telling this story. And said that Debbie took it home to her son, who was an accounting major at A&M, and they were able to together figure this out. And she said that Debbie was always very helpful and was always someone she thought a lot of. When I asked her what she liked most, she said, again, it was the people and the friends that she'd had a chance to make over the years. She said, the county's been good to me. And she said, one of these days I'm going to write a book about all the memories that I have here at Tarrant County. Italia, we appreciate very much the 25 years of service. Next is Judge Gene Grant. There he is. Has been one of our magistrates for the entire 25 years that he's been with the county. He said, memorable moments was just the work that he gets to do and the job, the environment that he works in. He said, I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of great people. And he said, I really enjoy the people that I've had a chance to work with and the family atmosphere that we have here at Tarrant County. He said, you know, it never seems to slow down. He's always busy. And he said, I just absolutely love public service. Judge, we appreciate very much the 25 years of public service you've given to Tarrant County. Next is Don Jensen, Constable Precinct 1. There's Don. Started out in the sheriff's office and worked there for, I guess, 19 years, and then moved from there to the constable's office and has been there ever since. He really didn't have a chance to come in when, for the 20th year, he was actually out of town. I guess you were in San Antonio. His daughter was in a band competition. And so, again, you know, family is what's also important to all of us. When I asked him what he liked most, he said it was all the friends that he's had a chance to make over the 25 years that he's been with Tarrant County, that it really is like a family and one that provides security for their employees and really tries to help them out. Don, we appreciate very much the 25 years that you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you.
And just coincidentally, that same band competition is going on right now in San Antonio.
But his daughter has graduated and moved on. Okay, Lori, it's your turn. This is the third of the Three Musketeers here. Lori is with CCC number 9, started off in the district attorney's office and worked there for about 4 years. Then moved over with Judge Carr in 1991 and has been there ever since. I'm reading my notes and trying to remember exactly. When I asked her about the more memorable moments, she related to an event that had occurred, and I think this was at actually the 20-year mark, and this was an event for Darla McMullen. And that was probably 5 years ago when you were talking about memorable events. When I asked her what she liked most, she said it was getting to work for Judge Carr and his approach to things. And it was kind of that, you know, almost a laid-back approach, but at the same time one that's very caring. She says, I love working with people. I love the variety. And, you know, since last we talked, she indicated that everything was still kind of plugging along, doing the best. And I think this is, again, something that Judge Carr had kind of instilled. Doing the best you can while you're at work, but don't carry it home with you. And I think in a lot of your departments, that's something that, you know, you have to do. You see some things that you wished you didn't see. You probably deal with folks who sometimes you wished you didn't have to deal with. You do that, and you do that with the spirit that you show in everything that you do. But hopefully you're able to go home and kind of put it behind you. Basically, her family is 4 dogs. I think you had, it's a Schnauzer, a Sheltie, and 2 Shih Tzus. You have to be careful how you say that. But the family is very, very close, and she's also very involved in her church life. She kept, and you know, again, Judge Carr in that court is one that looks to do that second mile. I mean, the veterans court, the drug court. A lot of those things are things which, you know, he has an idea of something that he thinks will work, and then he goes about saying, well, let's see if it doesn't. And he really goes that second mile, like many of y'all do, to try to help folks out and to trying to find a way to make it a little bit easier for folks that are having a tough time. Lori, we appreciate very, very much 25 years you've been here. Next is Tawana Ray with the District Attorney's Office. Started in the DA's office. Investigator then left and went to the investigators, came back and worked for the family violence area, and has actually been there. Now, she's one of these ones where 25, but it's really 29 because she left and then came back. And she's still an investigator, but in the worthless check division now. when I asked her what she liked most, she said it was the good bunch of people and making it a fun place. Now, I had notes from the 20-year, and what I do is I just add to it. And when I'm reading through the notes for the 20-year part, let me start off with saying she started off actually working a dispatch out of high school in Hereford, Texas. And then her husband actually retired from the county also. He had worked 32 years in the sheriff's office and also in the DA's office as investigator. When I called her at the 20-year mark, she and a couple of her friends were on their way. I don't think you were on your way to the beach at that point in time. I think you were actually on your way to Canton or someplace like that, but her friend Tanya had answered the phone and thought that it was her husband playing a joke on her. And she had some things to say that embarrassed all concerned. So when I'm reading through my notes, all I had down from the 20-year was beach and deposit for the beach party. And the reason that it's the beach and the beach party is because there's several of them that every year the ladies just go down to the beach and have a little party. And so I was trying to figure that out, and she recalled, as we were talking, she mentioned that, and all of a sudden it brought back a flood of memories. And I turned red just thinking about some of the things. When I asked her what had occurred in the last 5 years, she said they still go to the beach. She still loves working for the county and for being, and for the care that they take care of their employees. She has 9 grandkids, about half here and about half in Missouri. And as I recall, you have a grandson who's quite a wrestler and has won a lot of competitions. And what is he? How old is he? Freshman in high school. And so I think she's looking forward to many more years of getting a chance to watch that grandson wrestle. And I tell you what, we appreciate very, very much, again, the 25 years you've given us. Thank you. Next is Marilyn Sheppard with the District Clerk's Office. There's Marilyn. Started in the Family Law Division as an administrative clerk, then went to overseeing court records and is now the lead clerk over the family law documentation area, issuance area. Yeah, and I get that. I got that wrong over the phone. But basically, they issue all of a lot of the orders that come out of the family courts. She said, as far as her memorable moments, it was these actual being recognized in the 20 and now the 25-year mark. She said, I love my job, the type of work that I do and that I've had an opportunity to do. She couldn't say enough about Lisa Arneson, who had been a very positive, who'd been a very positive inspiration in her life. Also, when I asked her, about she loved the people and the folks she had a chance to work with, she said the county had really had a great impact on her life and had helped her to grow up. Had a lot of respect for Mr. Wilder and the job that he does. Really? Yeah, I know. Some things are hard to believe, but I write them down anyway. She did, very sincerely, both at the 20-year and at the 25 years, she talked about the opportunities that Tom had given her and the job that he did and the help that he had really given to her. She has 3 grandchildren. She said, she's seen the office the place, especially the place where you work in the family law section, completely go a complete transformation over the last few years. Still doing a lot of training and is still very excited about the management team. Marilyn, we appreciate very, very much the 25 years you've given it to us. Next is Sue Wittes with the District Clerk's Office, 25 years. Now, Sue, I believe you actually started the same day. I think you started 25 years ago last Friday, too.
Marilyn and I started the same week.
Okay.
And it was last week, too.
So, again, started in the records department, then moved over to the family law in the tax department and the appeals area, and basically is in the family law area now. Moved from the, she said, you know, when I'm on a more memorable moment, it was the move from really the civil to the family law area. And then it's just the difference in those two particular areas from that standpoint. She said, I love the people that I've had a chance to work with. It's like a big family. And you're retiring this Friday.
Yes.
Now, what she said is that she had all of her grandchildren live within a few blocks of her, and she's going to have a great opportunity. And I will tell you, as a grandparent, you really don't understand the blessings of having your grandchildren close to you until you sit down and talk with grandparents whose grandchildren are in Missouri or halfway across the country, and you don't have a chance to see them grow up and be around them. They're a whole lot better to be around than the kids. Also, I want to recognize Monty, her husband, who is with her here today, and thank you for allowing her to be a part of Tarrant County, for these last 25 years. And Sue, I hope you have a great retirement. Thank you very much for your service. Now, next for 30 years is Lori Richardson from Juvenile Services. 30 years. Started in the Juvenile Services area, did an internship while she was in college, and then came to work here after graduation. Started work in the detention and placement, was a field officer, an intake officer, and now is working on the new case management system, the juvenile case management system software, which is in the process. I guess we've now implemented it, and we've got great hopes that that system is going to go really statewide, and it already is going in many of the places. When I asked her about her more memorable moments, it was moving from the court unit into the intake. When I asked her what she liked most, she said, you know, the job's been wonderful, the friends that she's had a chance to make, and working with family and directly with families and with kids. When I asked her what had happened since last we talked, again, we kind of talked about the fact that in most instances, folks never expect to be here for the period of time that we're recognizing. And in her case, 30 years. Is excited about the new system, and that the state has actually put together some new survey that has been very good. She said it's been a great career with Tarrant County. When I asked her, you know, about retirement, she says, well, I'm at least beginning to think a little bit about retirement. She says, you know, the first job that I ever had was at Arlington Stadium. And she said, when I retire, I think I'm going to go back out there and see if I can't get a job back out at Arlington Stadium. So I tell you what, Lori, we appreciate very, very much the 30 years you've given us. Thank you. Next is Belinda Mcleod, 40 years. 40 years. Now, she started out with Human Services and was there for 21 years, and then took off a year and came back in May of '92 with JP3. Now, she's actually been with us for 41 years, because again, you take off a year, HR, because of some crazy policy that I'm sure the court approved, takes that year out of their service. She said, I've seen an awful lot of changes. When I started, it was a manual typewriter. It's being able to have challenging jobs. She remembers that. She likes, when I asked her what she liked most, it was the diversity of the job, the ability to work with people, and the fact that the county really is just a huge, huge family. When I asked her what had happened maybe over the last 5 years, she said, I never thought I'd be here the length of time that she had. She said, you know, but when I think back and look at the family, she said, my dad spent 36 years at General Dynamics. So we have a kind of a history of staying someplace for a long time. Still is now the assistant manager out in the South Lake location. In, I guess, late February, early March of next year, the Hearst office will move to the South Lake office as Commissioner Fickus builds his new sub-courthouse there. It brought back memories of when I first became commissioner. We remodeled the Northeast, and for almost a year we were living in double wides together, and right out there to the, I guess, to the north of the sub-courthouse. She said, we built a new home out in Springtown. She says, I'm raising a few cows and a couple of donkeys. So I think retirement is at least on the horizon somewhere, maybe. But, I hope that you have enjoyed your time with Tarrant County as much as we've enjoyed, and we want to thank you for your 40 years with Tarrant County. Next is someone whom I think needs really no introduction, Judge Billy Mills. 46 years. Now, Judge, the reason we stood up is because we want to thank you so much for not retiring, because we're going to have to increase the budget when you retire. Because I'm going to absolutely guarantee you this man has given up a lot of dollars for staying with the county. He would be making a whole lot more money under retirement, and that just shows you the passion and the public service that he has. He worked for the DA's office for 10 years. He started, I guess, in 64 and worked to 70, and then he left for a while and then came back in 72. He was appointed by the Commissioners Court on August the 9th, 1976, to serve as the interim judge for County Criminal Court number 3, and then was elected and has been that judge for 36 years. He said, when I asked him about memorable moments, he said, back when I first started, it was a lot wilder than it is now. He said, things work pretty smoothly nowadays. When I asked him what he liked most, he said, I really have loved my job. He said, and we kind of talked about it. He said, I know it's costing me to work here, but he said, I just love it. He said, I just love what I'm doing. He's a graduate from Pascal, grew up in this area, went to UTA when it was Arlington State College, served in the Air Force, graduated from SMU Law School in 1964. Last year, we recognized him with a resolution at this court. He is the longest sitting judge in the state of Texas. Judge Mills, we can't express to you the appreciation we have for you and your public service, your career, your life of public service, and for everything that you've done for the citizens of Tarrant County, and the fact that just day in and day out, you're there as one of those pillars of what makes this such a great place to be. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 1,015 years of service that we just recognized here today. Again, we cannot say enough to tell you how much we appreciate everything you do for this county, for the way you treat people as they come before you, in whatever position you have. You do a great job, and we thank you for that. There are refreshments in 504C back here. Thank you again. Have a great day. Go ahead and, Commissioners, you have before you the consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have one item yet this morning. This is item A1. We're requesting that the Commissioners' Court adopt a resolution establishing the Tarrant County Adult Fatality Review Team to conduct reviews of unexpected deaths that occur within the county pursuant to Texas Health and Safety Code 672.002, which includes designating Safe Haven of Tarrant County, which is a nonprofit agency, to oversee the review team activities.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Under the District Attorney's Office, we're requesting authorization to accept a subrogation recovery check in the amount of $14,118.49.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Phillips.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
It is requested that Commissioners Court approve a professional services contract with Honfeld Hoffer Stanford for architectural and engineering services related to the Medical Examiner's Office original building renovation project.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Move to receive and file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file personnel agenda. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Come on down, Mr. Beecham.
Mr. Arkansas.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have 4 items for your consideration this morning. First item is a Bidward Recommendation for RFP 2012-139. This is a Cscd RFP for offender defendant paid electronic monitoring services. Our recommendation would be to award per the contract terms to the primary and secondary vendors as shown in your court communique.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second item is also a Cscd RFP 2012-140 for offender defendant paid continuous alcohol monitoring services. Again, we would request to award this per the contract terms to the primary and secondary vendors as shown in your court communique.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Number 3, again, a Cscd item, RFP 2012-141 for offender defendant paid breath alcohol testing services. Again, we're requesting that this be awarded per the contract terms to the 2 primary vendors as shown in the court communique.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our last item is a bid award recommendation for bid 2013-008. This is Tarrant County semi-annual contract for copy paper and stock computer forms. Recommendation would be to award this on a per unit price basis, according to the primary, secondary, and alternate vendors meeting all specifications.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, I have 2 interlocal agreements. I'd move approval of item 8. Is that I? 1, A, B, C, and D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Any appointments? Commissioner Fickus?
I do. I need to appoint or reappoint Carolyn Sims to the Euless TIF Board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Carolyn Sims to the Euless TIF Board. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Are there, there's a bond today, so I need a, Ms. Diamond, come forward on that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We would seek to have you approve the bond of David Denise as the First Assistant and Chief Deputy Constable of Precinct 5.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Board members, you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion is second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius?
We don't, I'm sorry, Your Honor, we do not have any briefing items at this time.
Thank you.
There being no other business, any announcements? We're adjourned.
No executive?
No executive.
No close.
No close.
Good.